Very good morning, everyone. Today we are talking at very earlier time. Uh, let's do this. Let's study the newspaper before my time comes for the office. Now, this is of 28th. All right. Now, on 27th, we have studied a little bit about the Operation Kaveri. This operation was Operation Kaveri, and in this Operation Kaveri, we talked about Sudan and how Indian government is using help of Indian Air Force to take out the civilians and citizens from Sudan. We will talk later on about this Operation Kaveri. All right, little bit. Now, let's talk about the newspaper first of all. Now, violation of pact arose the uh, basic ties in India to China. Now, Rajnath Singh and Li Shangfu, what is the name? Li Shangfu, yeah, correct. The first time defense ministers have met with each other, all right, in the Eastern Ladakh, I believe, all right, and they have talked about the line of actual control. And Rajnath Singh ji told when they were at the Eastern Ladakh that all the issues of LAC should be resolved according to the existing bilateral agreement and commitments. All right, and disagreement at the border will logically be followed with de-escalation. And if there is some uh, if there is some sinister foreplay by any of the government, then it would be big problematic for them. Now, this is the talk they had before the SU summit, all right, and this is all. They haven't talked much more about it. They have just talked about the bilateral ties and how we should deal with this situation. Nothing more important in this, and rest it is not that important. I've gone through most of the newspaper, and my job is to tell you the right thing. All right, it is also of no use. Yeah, no use. And we have already talked about the Maoist. All right. Now, yeah, nation and its people. Now, this is about the India. It is a editorial page where India has become the most, populous countries. Populous means our population has been raised, and we are at the top. And national and its people. It is written by Sanjay Baru, and a country that cannot afford proper education to all will forever find population growth a bane. All right, he has this point of view. Now, there is always a debate about population is a bane or a boon, and India has now become the world's most populous nation, overtaking China, and certainly a bane, not a boon. All right, he believes that the population is a bane, not a boon. Now, let's find out the meaning for you all. Bane and boon. All right, bane and boon, something that is both a benefit and an application. All right, means good as well as bad, benefit and application. All right, sorry. And certainly a bane, not a boon, means it is a good thing, not a bad thing, though it is the biggest problem. Now, when China declared its one child policy, many among the Indian elite campaigns in favor of such a policy at home, while the government of Day rejected the one child policy and it launched Doya Teen Bus. Alright? And later on, they followed it by Hum Do Hamare Do campaign. And the communist political thrives are blaming the Muslim community for the Indian population growth. Mass poverty, it was declared, was consequent of excessive breeding by the poor. All right, means many people blame that Muslim community is using, try to spread their religion based on population, and some have told that the poor have done by excessive breeding. Well, large family are a response to poverty, not the cause. All right, means if they have the large family, these are response to poverty because they have poverty. and not the cause, not because they are the not reason for population. All right. The change in the population discourse began when both fertility and a birth rate became in fall in the socially advanced state of Kerala and Tamil Nadu. All right. Research related to the decline with literacy, education, and health status of women, among other factors. If the rest of Indians can mimic Kerala, it was argued that India's population problem will become unmanageable. That means if the chances of population discourage became when the both fertility and birth rate became fall in socially advanced state of Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Means in Tamil Nadu and Kerala, now the fertility as well as birth rate has lower. All right. And they have good literacy rate, they have good education, they have better health facilities, and they have better status of women, among other factors. All right. And if the India can mimic Kerala, and their problems will be solved for the population, and it will be manageable. All right. Now we can see that we have the skewed education policy which have resulted in this, and even the private sector is rushing in and now boldly demanding a change of policy that will allow for profit education institution. All right, private education wants some change in education policy. Now the pattern of population growth has many consequences for economic policy, internal and external migration, political deformation, demand of public services, and the use of natural resources and inter-regional variation in growth. All right, means the pattern of population growth has many consequences. These are the consequences of the population growth, which will be affecting both internally and externally migration. There will be poor political demographics, and there will be huge demand of public services. There will be more utilization of natural resources and intelligent variety of growth. All right. And India's multilateral, political, and bilateral trade agreement has been demand access to overseas job, or an employment visas, and so on. And this relentless pursuit of overseas employment opportunities. Now, India would spread out and remain the diaspora over whom the sun would never set. That means because of its population, the sun would never set on the Indian people and its diaspora. All right, from whether we are talking from USA to Australia or Portuguese to Japan. Now, a Nobel Prize winner, economist Milton Friedman, answered the question in 1955. Note to Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru. Nehru had invited Friedman to study the Indian approach to planning and offer his view. Friedman was not in favor of public investment in manufacturing, but strongly advocated the public investment in education. He was in favor of how we can better our education system so that things can take place in the favor. All right. But he was not in favor of investing in manufacturing. As an economist, I'm talking about. So Milton Friedman was a Nobel Prize winning an economist, but still he suggested Nehru that he must uh, put his pressure on the education system, not on the manufacturing. And still Nehru never did it. Now the Friedman wrote to Nehru that invest in human capital and convert people from being liabilities to assets. That means if you are having population, then it is not liability to you, but it should be your asset. And ill-educated, ill-equipped, and socially and cultural backward people are a economic liability. Educated, healthy, productive, and capable people are a natural asset. Instead, an asset to humanitarian. All right. So his point of view is that make a population growth as your better thing, just like China did. But we should not take the population as a liability, but an asset. We have to, if we properly educate them, if we have good development in that area, at that time, population will be growth. That population will be an asset, not a liability. Now, the present schools are increasing, putting out student into the market, global market. All right, and out migration students has risen sharply over the past decades, and at one of the end of the spectrum, at the other end of province, the community politicals are obsessed about the historical language, not worried about the basic learning skills and creation of knowledge based economy and society. A nation that cannot offer proper education to all will forever find population a bane, not a boon. Alright, a nation that cannot offer a proper education to all its will forever find population a bane, not a boon. Alright, bane, not a boon. Alright, boon is benefit, and they're telling that bane is something application, that is a liability, and boon is something known as the assets. All right, means education is a good thing, and if a population is also a good thing. But if you are not able to provide the proper education, that time you will suffer definitely. Now, what else we have? Yeah, the army to adopt the Niche technology operationalized command cyber operation. Means army is going to adopt this kind of nice technology. Now army on the Thursday said it has decided to operationalize the command cyber operation and support wings, that is command cyber operations and support wings, to absorb the nice technology and modernize its online networks. All right, the cyber operation wing will taken at command army commander conference, which happens biannually event on the April and October. All right, it is an apex level meeting, and the cyberspace is an important for both in gray zone warfare as well as the conventional warfare. Now let's find the meaning: gray zone warfare and conventional warfare. Now, the gray zone warfare. The Center of Strategic and International Studies defines the gray zone warfare as the contesting arena somewhere between the routine statecraft and open warfare. All right, that limo land between the peace and war means we are not at the war, but we are not at the peace. So, in between the peace and war, there is a gray zone warfare. All right, and now conventional warfare. Now, what is conventional warfare? It is a form of warfare conducted using conventional weapons and battlefield tactics between two or more states in open confrontation. That means it is required. That is, nature technology is required in both cyberspace, in gray zone warfare as well as the conventional warfare. That means in between the peace and war, and as well as in the open front war. Now, army is migrating towards net centralization. That means centralization of command, and this entail reliance on the modern communication system at all levels. That means there has to be reliable, centralized modern communication system at all level. A large number of nice technology equipment are being introduced into the Indian Army, including the drones, loitering weapon system, and anti-drone equipments. Now, even the TES entry scheme, which is done in Army, it was earlier 3+1+3+1. That means 5 years of completely commissioning is now being done at 4 years of commissioning model due to the shortage of officers. Now, I hope it is understandable. And now let's talk about India wants non-financial asset included in OECD info exchange framework. Now, the India has an aim to promote tax transparency and check evasion. India is in favor of widening the scope of Common Reporting Standards (CRS) at the G20 to include non-financial assets like real estate properties under the automatic exchange of information among the OECD countries. Now let's talk about what are the OECD countries. OECD, Organized for Economic Cooperation and Development, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. So they it want in G20 summit. It want that OECD countries should uh, uh, encourage the promotion of tax transparency and check evasion by reporting the common reporting standards, including the non-financial assets, all right, and real estate buildings, and could be used not only to check the tax evasion but also for other non-tax law enforcing purpose. Now expansion of CRS from the financial to new other non-financial accounts and assets, because the risks are not only in financial assets, there is risk of tax evasion in non financial as in and real estate properties etc. That means the tax evasion is possible in both non-financial assets as well as the financial assets. All right, and there will be our priorities to part of the G20. Flow of information has helped us in increasing tax collection and revenue buoyancy has increased. That means the tax collection and revenue buoyancy has increased, and the OECD has also approved the crypto asset reporting framework, which provide for the reporting of tax information on transaction in crypto assets in a standardized manner with a view of automating exchanging such information. All right. OECD tax transparency reporting amid the current geopolitical and debt crisis. There is pressing need to check tax evasion and illicit financial flow, especially by Asian nations, which are estimated to have lost 25 billion euros revenue in 2016. That means it is very important for the Asian nations, whether somebody, whether for somebody else or not. Now, we will talk about it later. That is the rapid support forces. All right, this is part of you, but I will talk on the next video about the Sudan Operation Kaveri, and we will discuss this as well. And now we don't have anything else to speak, and we have done the newspaper completely, right? Now there is one more side. As the US push for external truce. Okay. Now Russia welcomes Xi Zelensky call, but says no change in its Ukraine aim. That means NATO alliance have given Kiev 1,500 combat vehicles, 200 tanks. Said the means NATO has been helping Ukraine. Then communication between two nations is the sovereign matter, says Kremlin's. All right, Russia pound Bakhmut 300 times in 24 hours. Now airstrike back in Khartoum, that is in Sudan, as US pushes for extending truce. And this is all. I hope it helped. And thank you everyone for listening to the newspaper reading. And I will in the next video. And if I have time, I already have time. 6:46 is there. I will also talk about Operation Cover in the next video. Thank you everyone for listening. Jai Hind.